Welcome back to End Times Prophecy News for the 2 p.m. report. Department of Homeland Security. Isn't it so nice to know that Department of Homeland Security is actually your security now instead of your enemy? That you don't have to worry about them coming down the street with their tanks to arrest you and throw you in an internment camp, murder you, kill you, throw you, starve you to death, and then gas you in an internment camp. But no, now they're your buddies. They're getting rid of the illegal crazies out of this country under the old Trump administration. DHS wants to speed up the process, so look what they are willing to do. The Department of Homeland Security wants to speed up the hiring process of new Border Patrol agents, so they're considering cutting some corners. Washington Examiner reports, a very good publication. And that's exactly what Washington Examiner does, is they examine before they spew out. The Department of Homeland Security wants to shorten the amount of time it takes to hire a new Customs and Border Patrol agent, including increasing the amount of applicants who don't have to take lie detector tests. According to a draft memo released by the Washington Post, the department is trying to expedite the amount of time it takes to hire the 5,000 new agents that President Trump has ordered brought on board. The memo also stated the government has found enough room to detain 33,000 illegal immigrants who crossed into the United States. Among the proposals being considered are the expansion of the polygraph waiver that allows certain people who have a demonstrated track record of integrity and service to not have to take lie detector tests. This would require a legislative fix to the Anti-Border Corruption Act of 2010. Awesome. Excuse me. Bad news for this illegal who voted for Hillary. Kansas Secretary of State Chris Kobach just obtained his first conviction for a non-U.S. citizen who voted illegally. The subject, David Garcia Bebek, pled guilty. The Kansas City Star reports. Kansas Secretary of State Chris Kobach said Wednesday that he has obtained his first conviction of a person who illegally voted in a Kansas election without being a U.S. citizen. Kobach, who has advised President Donald Trump on immigration and voter fraud, said that Victor David Garcia Bebek has pleaded guilty to voter fraud. Kobach, a Republican, is the only Secretary of State in the country with the authority to prosecute voter fraud. No matter how many cases we prosecute, the political left will always whine that there's not enough cases to justify protecting our elections in this way, Kobach said in a phone interview. That's absurd. The conviction of Bebek was the 8th for Kobach since he gained the authority to prosecute voter fraud in 2015, his office said. As of this March 1st, 788,000 people were registered to vote in Kansas. Kobach said the others were convictions of people who double voted or were citizens who voted in Kansas and another state. Wait a minute. As of this March, not 1st. I'm sorry, I read it wrong. 1,788,000 people were registered to vote in Kansas. It doesn't say that these were illegals that were registered to vote. I guess this is everyone in the state of Kansas. This conviction shows how important prosecutorial authority is, Kobach said. Last year, Kobach was revealed as a source of Trump's unsubstantiated claim that millions of people illegally voted in 2016 presidential election. Kobach has offered no evidence to back up Trump's claim of such fraud in the 2016 election. Bebek will be on unsupervised probation for up to 3 years and pay a fine of $5,000, according to a statement from Kobach's office. I hope it was worth it, Bebek. Kobach found that Bebek illegally voted 3 times in a 2012 special election and the 2012 and 14 general elections. He was a Peruvian national at the time who voted in Sedgwick County, according to Kobach. Kobach said the way the case was discovered because Bebek became a U.S. citizen earlier this year. At his naturalization ceremony, he was offered the chance to register to vote in Sedgwick County. This gentleman did so, and then when the Sedgwick County Election Office went back to the office to enter his information, they found that he had been on the voter rolls since 2011. Sick. Large explosion in New York City. Oh no, bus catches on fire next to the Grand Central Station in New York City. Witnesses stated they heard a large explosion. According to the New York Post, the fire broke out at 6:40 a.m. No passengers were on the bus at the time and no reports of injury. The cause of the fire has not yet been determined. Was this a terrorist attack? I definitely would not say no at this point. In fact, I would lean toward terrorists. You're going to have more of these hot spots, as the Mark Taylor prophecy says, throughout this country, especially in those sanctuary cities run by sodomites, as per Mayor Bill de Blasio of New York. Sad, but true. Yeah, I'm not saying that this was a terrorist attack. I'm saying there's a high chance of it. The fact of it is that the bus exploded next to Grand Central Station. You know how easy it is to open these back doors and throw a little bomb in there, a small one, and start the fire? Very easy. Very easy. Be careful, folks. Be safe. Stay away from big crowds. Stay out of New York City. Most people are moving out of New York City. It's one of the biggest cities that is losing population nowadays. I reported on that earlier as well. Look who is asking for Sean Spicer to resign. Actually, Sean Spicer never did anything wrong. All he did was forget the history of World War II for a brief minute. Mike Kaufman thinks Sean Spicer needs to go. Well, of course, the leftist nutbags. Spicer made a terrible mistake yesterday and he admitted it. So therefore he needs to go, because we don't forgive anyone. Here on the leftist side, we prosecute you and there is no forgiveness. Wasn't that what Satan does? Yeah. Comes to kill, steal, and destroy.
Spicer made a terrible mistake yesterday and he admitted it. If you're not familiar with what he did, is that he needs to go, you know. Because I just don't think he's serving the president well. So what he tried to do is this: he said that, and it's true, the German army in World War II had chemical weapons and chose not to use them. Because they felt that the retaliation would the math didn't work for them.
What happened was Spicer was trying to show the difference between a bomb chemical attack like Bashar Assad did, fool, and how he used them in internment camps to kill quietly the 6 million Jews. He was trying to show how it would be a lot better to keep it under wraps in those, whatever we call it, those places where they killed them all. Okay? I forgot the names of the German names of those centers. I think there was at least 3 major camps of murdering Jews. And others, not just Jews. There was a total of like 12 to 14 million that he slaughtered. Okay? He was trying to show the difference between a bomb of gas versus cyanide inside of their killing machines. But he said it wrong. He got tongue-tied. This idiot wants to crucify him for it because he's a leftist nutball.
But at the same time, so he was trying to make that point about Russians.
What point? You don't even know what point he's trying to say. That's because you don't know what's going on.
But then what he did is he didn't mention the fact that 6 million Jews were killed by chemicals.
You don't even know what the chemicals were. Why don't you? I mean, here you're up on the stage and you're talking about chemicals. It was cyanide. You don't even know World War II yourself. Yet you are supposed to be better than Sean Spicer?
I don't want to apologize for him.
You don't need to apologize. You need to apologize for yourself. You're just like the Pharisees who wanted to slaughter and stone the harlot who gave, I think she was a harlot, who gave water to Jesus at the well. And he says, let him who has no sin cast the first stone. And one by one, the Pharisees and Sadducees felt condemned and convicted, and walked away. But you know what cracks me up is that nowadays people turn this truth that Jesus said into a parable, as if your words are throwing stones out. And they try to mix it with Proverbs 18:21, that your words, they try to mix it with Proverbs 18:1. I've already gone over this before. So stupid. They try to mix it with this one right here. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. It says tongue. It doesn't say stones that killed. They were stoning people 2,000 years to death. That's how they killed people for their sin. Okay? Well, that was one of the ways. Okay? They did it to Stephen, one of the apostles, in Acts chapter 7. But here's the thing. Why would you think that the power of your tongue is a stone? But that's what they teach in Bible buildings of today. But again, here we have a Pharisee Sadducee who has no faith in God, and he wants to persecute someone just because they said a couple words wrong. That's just like the intent of the Pharisees and Sadducees, ignoring the weightier matters of the law and just tithing with cumin and I forgot the other spice, like as if that saved them. Thank you for listening. God bless.
If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin